6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good evening, everyone. I made it. Just the ball and chain had me chatting, and I was nearly late. Anyway, welcome back. Great show yesterday, by the way, with Luke Edwards. Absolutely amazing. You've got to go and watch it if you haven't watched it. Absolutely fantastic. Evening, everyone. Welcome to the Premier League show. That's exactly what it is. There's a link if you want to become a member at the top of the chat. Please like and subscribe, the usual stuff. Bottom right-hand corner is a super chat if you want to donate to the channel, which ends up going to charity. Please adhere to community guidelines. Keep comments respectful and enjoy the show. Mike's late, so I'm rabbiting on until hopefully... not Mike. Martin's late. I don't know what's going on. Mike looks like he's ready for a bit of a non-league action himself. He's stripped and ready, and he looks like he's ready to play for someone down south somewhere on a cold Tuesday night. Congratulations. Yes, we're going to come to that. Evening, Baz and all. Pockettson scored. Evening, everyone. So that means under 21s are winning. Les, beat me to it, Gary. Roger. Playing quite well, apparently. So that's nice. We need the first team to play well, not the under 21s. Did you two tempt fate? Is it 1-1? Is it? I don't know. Roger, I accept responsibility. Hey, here he is, late as always. Typical Manchester City fan. You know, they win everything. They just think they can turn up when they want. Evening, everyone. Matt. All right, Matt. Evening, all. Brilliant. Right, let's bring everyone in. Good evening.
Good evening, mate.
How are we doing?
Absolutely fantastic. I want to say that show was absolutely brilliant last night, mate.
I enjoyed it.
Absolutely brilliant. A total different side of look what I've thought of. Dead honest. Goes to show he puts a lot of hard work in, started from roots. And it's nice to hear that hard work pays off, and as much as he gets the pelters off everyone, which we all do, by the way. Just goes to show though, but even though that they're getting paid for the journalism, some of the information that we get, we actually double source stuff as well to find off other people that had actually, and it was refreshing to see at least that we get quite a bit right as well, what we hear, which is good. But overall, mate, I thought the show was fantastic. It really was, and to get someone like him on to go over certain stuff, what covers, it certainly put my mind to rest. It's some stuff was great. It was a very, very interesting watch. Very, very, very good. I'm looking forward to the next one when he comes on. It'll be brilliant.
Yeah, I'm sure you will come back on. You started following me now as well, so I've got to be on my best behavior.
Oh, exactly. Don't be getting these bad books again.
Definitely not.
I'm sure them bridges are well burnt, and
100%.
He's a kissed and made up behind the scenes, as obviously you admitted to, but well worth it because I'll say it once more. The show was fantastic.
Top bloke. He was a top bloke. Right, let's bring our new Sunday signing in. Oh, Mike.
Hey, hi, mate. How are you?
How's it going? That away top just screams Sunday League football.
Mate, yeah, I've got it out of a certain game that went on at the weekend. I'm not quite sure what game it was, but you know, we were dressed in this kit and
I love it. The chat last night was really good too. No disrespect, the chat was brilliant last night. But enough about last night now. Let's bring the man who was late. He comes when he wants.
Can you not gag, Ian? You know, what's that about?
Go on, Martin.
Oh, it was a top show last night, Martin. We had a journalist on who covers Man City as well, actually, to be fair, Luke Edwards, and he was brilliant. Do you know when you have an opinion of someone and you see what he writes and the stuff that he wrote, and he rubbed up a lot of Newcastle fans the wrong way when the takeover was going on. I formed an opinion which ended up being absolutely wrong. You should never judge a book by its cover. And he was a top guy. So, it made me look.
We have one of them. We have one of them called Sam Lee that winds every City fan up.
There you go. I've heard that name before, Sam.
It doesn't help that he's a rag. He is a rag.
Right.
So that doesn't help.
Well, see, Luke's a Leyton Orient fan. He's like that, right? That he's got no agenda, really, in a way. It's so yeah. Like I say, it was a great show. If everyone wants to watch it, it's still there to watch. But we're going to talk about Premier League football. It's been an amazing opening 3 weeks. A lot of little twists and turns, as there always is in the Premier League. The transfer window slammed shut. I think Brighton won the transfer trophy this summer. Are you happy with what you've done, Mike?
No, without a doubt. Without a doubt, absolutely.
Don't even bring him up, by the way, because we're still not happy.
But it's typical that he plays like 10 minutes of a game and then gets injured. So it's like he's out till the new year. So it's
that was great. I mean, I was speaking to you well before you signed him, saying if you get this guy, Matt O'Reilly from Celtic, I know it's only Scottish football, but his stats were phenomenal.
Yeah.
And then if you take him into the Premier League, you can quarter his stats and he would still be phenomenal in the Premier League because you'd be averaging about 18 plus goals and assists if you just quartered his stats. I think he was an amazing signing, but unfortunately, it's what happens when you play lower league teams in the cup. Look what happened to Newcastle when we played Tranmere. We got battered all over the place and it cost us a couple of players that night, I think.
I mean, it was an absolutely diabolical tackle, but
it was,
like with a Premier League referee who just, how he didn't even give him a yellow card, which was just at the time was bonkers. And then the more I saw it, the more it's like a straight red. But hey ho, it is what it is. But no, the transfer window's been amazing. What is there not to like? We've strengthened in every area. It's just been good. The only possible thing was getting another centre half in to cover, but just being greedy a bit.
I'm gonna wind you up a little bit and ask the difficult question because that's what we're here to do on this channel. Is ask the difficult questions. Who is playing for their Chelsea career?
Our manager.
Yeah, I knew it. You know he's going to be there by Christmas, don't you?
Yeah. Fortunately, they went for Dewsbury Hall when we were linked with Dewsbury Hall, but I think to be fair to them, his manager was there like from last year, so I think that was, and the money obviously was the attraction. But after that, they've moved away from the signings that we've gone for, thankfully. So yeah, hopefully that is drawing a line under that, and they're in a different kind of market to us now. I'm hoping.
No. They let players go to you. You make them better. They then come and spend 100 million on them, and then you're laughing.
It's actually probably speaks volume that all the players that have gone to Chelsea are disliked at Brighton, whereas like McAllister went to Liverpool and he's still loved. Dan Burn went to Newcastle, he's still loved. It probably shows you the way those players left and the reasons that they went were not great, and they didn't cover themselves in any sort of glory. And but yeah, who knows with Chelsea? They've got so much money and such stupidity that they could just throw bags of money at us for anyone.
Yeah. And this is why I think you've won the transfer window, because Chelsea have obviously spent the most and they've gone out and done stupid things, but you've been very clever, bought very good players, and I can't think of another club who's been as active and as sensible at the same time in the players you've bought.
Yeah, maybe West Ham were the other one.
Yeah, but they're struggling at centre back, which is why I don't think they've won the window. They let two of them go out on loan and haven't really replaced them.
That was
true. Very silly.
They're in the free market, aren't they, at the moment, trying to get centre half. So yeah,
we'll come to that a little bit later on.
I'll take what you're saying, and yeah, you're right. That's always been the way we've recruited. It's been targeted recruiting rather than just going out and signing anyone. And what we did we learned from last year where we didn't have the depth and we got loads of injuries, and we suffered because of that. As you've seen, we've still been getting results, even though our new signings have been injured, because they've got that competition underneath them. So it's it's been clever recruiting, and I mean, that's down to what Tony Bloom has put in place over the time he's been owner. It's been a gradual sort of build, and we basically spent the money that Chelsea threw at us. So hey, thanks.
That's
Chelsea.
the way to do it. That's what Villa did when Man City threw them 100 million for Grealish. They went out and built a squad, and they've got Champions League football, and they've got a great manager there doing great things. There's no reason why Brighton can't do that, to be fair.
No, absolutely, yeah.
So Ian, obviously our transfer window was just, well, Eddie Howe. I mean, I've said Eddie Howe got let down, and I know we need to forget about it and move on, but it's still quite raw. We have been left short-handed a little bit. I mean, we should have really brought a right winger in or a centre back. If you're not going to get the centre back, you've got to bring in the right winger.
Yeah, well, it's very difficult when your hands are tied, and that's the thing. And we as a football club have got to be probably one of the most frustrated out the whole lot of what we want to achieve, but we can't. Our transfer window for me was, I wouldn't say it was a letdown, because I don't think we're, do you know, how can I word it right? It's because your hands are tied. If say, for instance, we went in for all these big players and after the offers were on the table and nothing came about it, lots of them, then it becomes disappointing. But when you have a look at the direction of, if you look at it, and don't get your black and white eyes off, look at the direction of that transfer window from the very, very beginning. By the way, it showed that we weren't going to go out and sign superstars. That and that started from minute one, by going in for Tossin and going in for Lloyd Kelly on frees. That's and obviously James Trafford was the other one. That was they were the three that they were targeting first. So that sets your standard out. Now, if I totally agree with you, Baz, what you said the other day. If we signed Tossin, I don't think we even look at Guy. However, that falls through. He agreed to come, as Will has said and multiple sources said, he agreed to come, but obviously that didn't turn out, and he chose Chelsea instead. Now, then it took a tournament to make a player that's, in my eyes, is a £40 million player, just grow into, he's not worth that. Well, no, he's not worth that. But again, we're trying to throw the kitchen every single bit of money that we had, or that we're at one player. But my worry was, we're going to be, you knocked the nail on the head just before, Baz, about the Grealish going to Man City using that kind of money. I was petrified, and I've said on numerous shows that us losing a big player to
Bruno or Gordon.
Now, honestly, Baz, hand on heart, we are a transfer window away, mind, or two transfer windows away from that happening, because that's what we've got to do. And as a football club, we're going to have to accept that, and it's to move us forward. Brighton done a fantastic. Liverpool's done it all the way back to Coutinho money. Aston Villa's done it. And so this
time we're doing it with Rice.
And Rice as well, of course. But we have got to accept that this is going to happen, and we have got to get players on board that, no matter what they sell for, it's going to be a profit for the club. We cannot be in a situation what we are now, where the player value was so low and the wages are so high. We cannot go down that route now. It's going to be that way. But I was happy. Like I say, I was petrified of a big one leaving, but then I was happy for them to stay for now. I did say it was critical that we got a centre half in, I still think that's because we certainly haven't got the squad depth in there. We certainly needed a ball player in there to help us. And the right winger, I just don't think we had the. I really don't think we had the clout to do both.
Well, I think if you moved the gear deal and said, right, this is the cut-off date, we will move on. That's what they should have done. Leaving it to drag to the last day of the window was silly. They should have given it a week and a half. Palace, this is our last offer. You accept it or you don't. If you don't accept it, we're moving on to another target, or we're moving on to the right wing position and spending the money there, which we could have got a top quality right winger.
I got told today why Palace took their heels a little bit and took the piss out of us, really, because go back when Dan Ashworth, we tried to nick their sporting director behind the back.
Yeah, Dougie Freedman.
Right, we tried to nick their sporting director behind the back, and they were pissed off. So this is what I got told today. That's why they've took the piss out of us, and they've still took the piss out of us today by turning around and Parish has turned around and said, "I thought Gay would leave in this window." Now all of the interviews he said leading up to that he's going nowhere. He's this, that, and then today's come out and said that. No, so that's just the final licking of the wounds.
Nail on the head. Well, he said the reason why he didn't end up leaving is because Anderson went out, and then they also lost an injury as well, didn't they, to a centre back? So he was never going to leave after that, was he? But the fact that we still kept on trying at that point is the frustration thing. But we digress. It's over. We're going to move on, and we're going to support the lads as we always do.
Yeah.
Martin, City's transfer window. You must be delighted that Gundogan's come back.
Yeah, I'm over the moon with it. Made money out of Alvarez, 85 million quid. Who's doing absolutely nothing over in Atletico, by the way, except sitting on a bench.
Seriously, I've not really kept an eye on that, to be fair.
Yeah, he's struggling a bit to adapt over there. But this is what you get. The grass is not always greener. I mean, just a little bit on it. I understand the Newcastle frustrations. I get it. A little bit is, I'll be honest, but I think it's a little what I would call naive from fan base and club. And it's because you've never been in this situation. Because you got taken over. And you all got giddy, blah, blah, blah. Here we go, off we go, and we're going to do this spend. And the thing is, I totally agree the PSR rules are stupid. There has to be some rules, though. Because like I said, you got to think, because as your fan base, you don't look at it from the others, because you're sat there now as a fan base in general going, well, it's not fair on Brighton, it's not fair on Fulham, it's not fair on Villa. But if there was no rules, it'd be just us and you. It would just be us and you competing for the league. But you're not going to sit there then when you're competing for the league. It's not fair on Villa. Villa become an afterthought at that point, with all due respect, because you're there.
They're always an afterthought, mate. They're always an afterthought.
But you know what I mean. You know what I mean. It's sort of when you get to the top, you're sort of there and you go, oh well. But the sad thing is, Newcastle are one day going to have to sell someone. The same way Mike's had to sell Casado and everyone else, and Villa had to sell Grealish. Liverpool had to sell Coutinho. City have to sell Alvarez and all that, Palmer. Clubs have to do it. It's just because it's the very first one, it will hurt the most. And you don't think of what's coming down the road with it and where the advantages will come. But it'll take time. The only thing I've noticed with some Newcastle fans, I will bring it back to City, is you're only 3 years into a 10-year project. The 10-year project stops, and you've now gone to a 3-year project, and we want it now. It was always a 10-year project. Well, why has everyone lost it after 3 years? Yeah, but that's human nature.
It is, but when you get Champions League football, you see a lot of fans who don't think ahead and don't realise how difficult it is without the squad depth. They saw Champions League football and thought, we can do this every year.
Took City 5 years to win a league. People, know this. People said this 1,000 times. Do you think when we got taken over and we wanted to buy Roque Santa Cruz? No thanks. We didn't just get taken over and went straight to Haaland and all them. It takes time to get to that level.
Well, you got Robinho.
You've got to build it. Robinho was garbage.
Well, Robinho
Adebayor was in all due respect, what you tend to do at the start, you start buying other big teams' cash offs. Adebayor was slowly coming to the end at Arsenal. Nasri was probably a good one.
Nasri was
But you look at who we bought, Cliche, Sanya.
Yeah.
They were getting towards their end at Arsenal. Arsenal were going to the next stream. And that's what you just got to do it in little phases as you're going along. Yes, there was no rules for us. I accept that. But I don't know what PSR they have to do. They have to come up with a rule, but you can't just have no rules because then it's just a two-team league. It's a two-team league and it's over for everyone else.
Do you not think Gary Neville hit the nail on the head with what he said? I know you're probably not one of Gary Neville's biggest fans, but when he spoke on Sky, he said, we've got to stop having the thumb on Newcastle's head and we've got to let them go and be able to spend money. Now, he said, and I've said this, and I think you've said, I think a lot of people who have got sense have said this. If you're going to allow an owner to plough money in, you should make them pay a separate fee or deposit. And if that club ends up being in trouble, you do not get that deposit back. And that deposit goes back to protect the football club. Mm-hmm. So, for example, if the Saudis want to plough in 150 million and then they want to put it onto the club, they've then got to pay, say, 50 million deposit on the side to be used to rescue the club if there's trouble ahead because they've overspent.
Totally agree. That's what it should be. That's what it should be. I still think there has to be a cap to that.
Yeah, of course.
But still has to be a cap. So say you say 200 million, 250 million spend of owner investment. So you can do something like that. It would help Newcastle massively. It would help even a Brighton or a Villa massively. Because I don't think it's right. Where I do agree with Gary Neville, it's wrong that teams have to sell their academy players out the door.
Yeah.
We're meant to be trying to get the English national team improved, but everyone is having to sell the silver out the joint. And this is what's wrong now. PSR wasn't designed to sell the academy out.
No.
That wasn't what it was
designed to protect clubs from going into bankruptcy and going into trouble. And it's doing the opposite.
It's mad, but with the City one, City, I'm very pleased with our Sabio. Looks a very astute piece of business. Gundogan, how do you replace Gundogan with Gundogan? It buys us a year to 18 months to look at somebody else, maybe whether it's a Wharton or whatever, whoever we look at going down the road. What? Sorry.
He'll get you 10 goals as well, mate.
Gundogan's quality.
Well, whoever it is that we go for, we know KDB's coming to the end. We know potentially John Stones could be. So I think City will spend next summer. We've got, from the last time
rebuild, haven't you? Walker, Kevin De Bruyne, Gundogan potentially again.
City could clear 400 million on PSR. We could spend 400 million and not blink on PSR because we've not really done a lot.
About PSR side of things, but a rebuild of those players is very difficult to replace and hit the ground running straight away. So you've got like a lot to do.
Well, we have in a few areas. We brought Doku, Gabardio. They were young. They were only 20 when we bought them. Rico Lewis. Suddenly becoming such an important player, even at 19. He's becoming such a player, which, I hope he does well for England.
Oscar Bob when he comes back as well.
Oscar Bob, when he comes back, there's big plans for him. But we've started the season on fire. We've started the season with a purpose. And it's not even the results, it's the way we're playing. We just look so... We've clicked into gear well before we ever anticipated clicking into gear. Which you just can't complain at the moment. It's just all happy days. And that League One striker that you don't like, Baz, just kind of just keeps doing what he's doing, doesn't he?
What do you mean? I don't say I didn't like him. Holland's brilliant. I just, he's just a cheat code at times, isn't he? Do you know what it is? I forgot that he didn't play in the Euros, and that's really played into your advantage because he just looks fresh.
Oh, yeah.
If he played in the Euros, we might be having a different conversation. But because he's been away, he's relaxed, he's recharged.
It sounds awful. I'm glad he's Norwegian.
Yeah.
I'm actually glad he's Norwegian.
Who did I speak? Was it you, Ian? Did I speak to? So I spoke to a few people and I said, how did they not qualify? They've got Odegaard, Haaland. There's a few other good players for Norwich. I don't understand how.
Oscar Bob now. We've got Oscar Bob on the wing. It's like I don't know how they've done it, but they're just not. They're not a very good national team.
Oh, very strange. Any other teams that we haven't mentioned who have had a good window? We said West Ham, obviously Brighton, Man City have had a decent window. Is anybody else who's you've been surprised about? Anyone? There's not really much been done, has there? I think the window's been ruined, and obviously the January window has definitely been ruined.
There you go, Baz.
I don't think United have had a bad window. I think United have got a bad manager.
Yeah, definitely.
I think there's a big difference. I wouldn't say United have had a bad window because they've actually bought some decent players. They just haven't got a clue because they've got, Pep Guardiola from Wish in charge.
Villa did sort of a decent window, I suppose. Selling Diaby was a strange one, but they've obviously replaced them. They've sold a few players, but they've reinvested that money quickly, haven't they?
Weird with Villa because they had to sell two of the main guys to bring in players, and they still had a decent window. So, yeah, weird one with Villa.
Big juggling act, but they look like they've done well. We'll go to the first round. We'll go on. Sorry, Ian.
See, for me, with Villa, they sold their best midfielder and then brought Toure in from Everton, which was a downgrade, I think, massively.
Well, hasn't he?
But for the same price, it's and it's a head scratcher for me. But it's what PSR make you do. It's absolutely ridiculous.
One of those things. We'll look at the first round of fixtures. Obviously, Man United beat Fulham 1-0. Liverpool won away to Ipswich. Arsenal at home to Wolves won 2-0. Brighton, great result away to the Scouse Mackems, 3-0. Newcastle scraped through against Southampton 1-0. Forest draw 1-1 with Bournemouth. Villa beat West Ham away. I think that was a massive result. Brentford beating Palace 2-1. City beating Chelsea 2-0. Weird open day fixture, that, wasn't it? It's very rare you see two big teams in the first round of fixtures. A newly promoted Leicester steal a point against Tottenham after being battered. I think the result of the weekend from the first weekend was Villa winning away to West Ham. I thought that was a fantastic result for them, especially after West Ham's window and and Villa's window being all right, but they managed to scrape through 2-1. I thought that was a great win for them, Ian.
Yeah. Tough place to go as well, especially on an opening day.
Those bubbles get in your eyes, don't they?
But any away win first game of the season, I think is a great one. Just because it's obviously you've got to get your first 3 points on the board as quick as possible. I wouldn't have took them to win down there, no chance. But no, it was a good win for them.
I think I had 2-2 that one. Our game, obviously, we went down to 10 men after 30 minutes. Absolutely disgustingly went down to 10 men after 30 minutes. We still managed to win 1-0, which was fantastic. Mike, your result was fantastic as well, beating the Scouse Mackems away from home 3-0. I know they got a player sent off as well, but you've got to be happy with that.
Yeah, definitely. It's a great start, especially against Dyche, who's got a bit of a hold over us over the years. And when he's Burnley and like Everton doing us 5-1 at the Amex, like it's just he's had that sort of result. So getting a result there was brilliant. It's a great start for us.
And then City, Martin, fantastic result at Chelsea. I mean, again, very weird fixture to open with. Especially as champions, you normally get like a newly promoted team, don't you? So that was, I mean, it's probably a good time to play Chelsea, really, with all the players that bought them not settled in yet. Yous were, and you put them to the sword.
I thought it was a great fixture to have. Like you just said, Chelsea is still. We played them 2 weeks earlier over in America.
You battered them as well, didn't you?
Absolutely pasted them, and then 2 weeks later, it was. Don't get me wrong, they had chances, but I just thought at any time, I thought we were just very composed in the game, and we've changed our style. We're now a little bit more direct with a little bit more tempo, which I love. I think you can't get many better debuts than what Sabio got. So, happy days.
Any other results that stand out that everyone wants to mention? I mean, we can talk about the Shaw incident all night if we want to, because, I mean, Jesus Christ, I've never seen anyone play act so much in my life. I don't know what you guys thought of it, being a City fan and a Brighton fan, but that was pretty disgusting what Diaz did. Well, I thought it was, personally.
Yeah, I thought it was a red, but I didn't think, this play acting is. This is my thing.
Why a red though? They both put their heads together at the same time, and then Diaz decided to take it on his own back to dive and fall to the floor. Should be 2 yellow cards each, and then another yellow card for Diaz for play acting. That's
but it depends. We're going down the rules road. I've had this all weekend with Arsenal fans about. Well, it's the rules, but it's not common sense. And with all due respect, referees don't get evaluated on common sense. They get evaluated on following the rules. And this is what fans have got to realise. What I've seen over the last 2 weeks is we're now encouraging referees to make the wrong choices because it's suiting narratives. And when they're and there's an old saying, 2 wrongs don't make a right.
But you have to agree, though, if both players put their heads in, it should be 2
But both should have gone then. Yeah, it should have been. Yeah, it should have been 2 reds. Yeah, I'm not saying Shah's was and the other one wasn't. They were both reds. That's where the inconsistency comes, and that's where the upset comes.
Yeah, I would like to have seen 2 yellows because they didn't, aggressively go in at each other. You've got to have an argument and put head on head. As fighters do in matchups, don't they? When they're doing.
I don't know that. If you go head to head with someone in a Newcastle bar on a Saturday night, you're not going. That's non-aggressive. With all due respect,
that's how Jody's talking, isn't it?
Yeah. Baz, you said there that Diaz should have been booked. He got booked for the push in the back. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Fab Shaw then runs the risk because he puts his head to him. As soon as you
both went forward.
Yeah, you're running the risk of being sent off.
Oh, of course you are.
Yeah. So then you said about the yellow card for play acting. So then does that make Shaw's red card gone? Because
he's still moved his head forward, hasn't he? So that's what the referees looked at. He's moved his head forward towards them in potentially aggressive way.
Ian is saying exactly the point I'm saying. Yeah, you can't let one off because one's play acted.
Yeah, that's so.
I would like to have seen 2 yellow cards for the situation, not 1 red card and Diaz gets taken away.
Me personally, I think because Shaw's stupidity has led for that red card. For me, I don't think it warrants a red card. I think both players should have been booked, and that should have been it. It's a very, very soft decision. However, the laws of the game states now they want to stop and clamp down on that, and I think they've been made a little bit of an example of it. First game of the season, as referees do, when they try to do this time based and carry on, when they've tried to add time on, it'll just peter out back into a normal football game where you'll see later on in the season where 2 players will go head to head, and I don't even think it'll get a booking or anything like that. It'll be a talking to. I just think it's the first game of the season. It's harsh for us because we've missed him for 3 games. I just think you can see it from all kinds of angles where it's in a debate and a discussion where you can see it from all over. And what's in the limelight now is the referees with loads of different screens around them. There's so many opinions going towards them. Again, it's all about the rules, regulations, common sense. Not many times referees use common sense now. Come on, we'll go down the offside rule for common sense. How many times do we say that? But Pep Guardiola goes absolutely mental about it, right? Where in a situation where somebody's put through and then you can see he's clearly miles offside and then they'll put a ball across and then there's a tackle goes in. And I think it goes back.
And you can injure a player. And
I think what Sticks and Pep said is, I think it's when his goalkeeper got injured that time when it was an offside.
John Stones got injured.
John Stones got injured and the goalkeeper got injured as well. And this is common sense. This is what we're trying to say. The rules over common sense should be used at times, but it's very, very difficult.
Yeah. Mike?
Well, I agree with Ian. I think Shah was stupid getting involved in that situation. I think Diaz played him in the same way that Veltman played Declan Rice at the weekend. And these players should know better than getting into that situation. That said, I don't think it is a red card, but I agree with Ian. I think these things, like the Declan Rice thing, it's a way of saying, like, this is what we're going to do. And then as the season goes on, if you remember last season, they had the rule about the delay over throw-ins. And at the beginning, they were like dishing out yellow cards. And then all of a sudden, during the season, it just died a death. And that's what's going to happen. I agree with Ian. It's a way of stamping down and saying this is what we're going to do. But as the season goes on, there'll be an outcry from certain clubs and managers. We know what managers they are. And B, the PGMOL will have a rethink and start relaxing some of these rules, and then people will start crying inconsistency.
There we go. That's the word, isn't it? That's the key word, inconsistency. We'll creep into it again.
Do you know what it is, Baz? Sorry, go on in.
There's a great one last year as well, mate, where we got absolutely slated for Jason Tyndall for yapping on in their fourth officials' ears, as they say, in the technical area.
Yeah, two people in the technical area at the same time, and that's been relaxed, hasn't it?
No, but if you look what happened at the start of last season, Eddie Howe looked a little bit lost out there, and then all of a sudden he was just crept his way in, and he was standing alongside him. And that's just a little example of what we're trying to say. And nobody's even, that's supposed to be a rule book, nobody's even doing it.
Well, look at Arteta, he's never inside his own box.
Do you know what it is, Baz? It was like there was one last season with City and Forest very early on, very similar, where Rodri and I can't remember the Forest player. The Forest player had basically gone in and snapped Rodri, virtually tried to clear him out. And Rodri got up and put his hands around his throat. Rodri rightfully got sent off. And this is my thing. I understand, because people always look 2 steps before it and they go, well, he did that and he did that. No, I always look upon it in real life. And I know people don't look at it, football in real life. But just because you're on a football pitch doesn't mean you can get away with certain stuff. And this is why I was joking earlier. You stick your hands on someone's throat on the street in front of a policeman, you know what's happening. If you go into, you know, even whether you touch them or not, and you try and put, because that's why there's intent now, you try and put your head in someone else's head. I think we've got to be careful, because I understand, you know, we want things to go for us, but it's the first game of the season, and you saw it even on Saturday. Arsenal fans are in uproar over bloody Rice. Rice kicked the ball away.
He did.
And it's the rule. Get on with it. Sorry, Veltman played him, but he kicked the ball away. So it's a yellow card. Why is no one saying to Rice, don't be stupid, don't be naive to do that?
Rice has come out and said that he should have been sent off. However, though, the ball was moving. So even if they did play the quick free kick, it shouldn't have been allowed to be taken because the ball wasn't stationary.
I've had this with Arsenal fans. It was only moving because Veltman accidentally kicked it when he was getting up off the floor. And then he then kicked the ball when it was moving. Dermot Gallagher said the reason why that can't be put back is the free kick hadn't been taken. It wasn't active in play because Rice moves the ball away. And then the only reason Veltman kicked Rice is because Rice has moved
the ball out the way. Yeah.
And I agree with Martin. It's the fact is no one's actually, we know the rules are us and we know it's messy and we know it's a petty thing and there's bigger things that the PGMOL should be looking at. But none of the Arsenal fans, Arteta didn't come out and said, well, actually, that was a stupid thing to do. He's on a yellow card and he knows the rules. We've all been told that before the season started. And yes, they kind of had a point with Pedro kicking the ball. Although I think it was different, but I can see where they're coming from.
Well, it was different because he wasn't stopping a quick throw in or a quick free kick. He thought the ball was potentially still in play. He's kicked it towards the Arsenal goalkeeper. So he hasn't kicked it, away from players either, has he? So it is different.
Exactly that. And there are multiple balls around the pitch to get the play going quickly, which that's why it's a different. And as Dermot Gallagher said, Rice kicked it off the pitch. If he had kicked it maybe 3 or 4 inches and it hadn't gone off the pitch, probably wouldn't have got sent off. But
and that is a rule they're clamping on, by the way. They've come out and said they're clamping on this time wasting stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, as you know, it just got relentless, and I've been there, and it's just their fans just got totally irrational about it, and
We always do.
really,
I did warn you.
yeah, really childish. Some of them though, really,
Oh,
really
yeah.
childish. It's like
We warned you.
Yeah, hey-ho.
Like
So
big
today I've
babies
just
they are.
ignored some of their posts. I've gone, no, I'm not commenting on that. I'm not commenting on that because
At the end of the day, when it's against your player, you are going to moan and you are going to say something because that's what fans do.
Yeah, absolutely, Martin. And I actually said that to their supporters is like, if we've been on the receiving end of that, no doubt we would have been going apeshit about it. You know, absolutely. You're right. Spot on. You know,
with all due respect, if Taylor Howard Bellison and Gorman tried to nut Bruno, your lot and wouldn't have got yellow, your lot would have said that's a red card. So it's what I mean. It's when it's not your guy, you're all right with it. But when it's your guy, it's the rules are against. If you went through all 20 Premier League fans and said a referee's against you, everyone says yes. Everyone says referees are against them. Nobody ever says the referee's not against me. And that's just
true.
I pointed this out because they started going on about Kavanagh, and I said we had the same with Mike Dean when Mike Dean was refereeing, and what it is, you only remember the bad decisions they give against your team.
Yeah.
You forget all the games they referee when they didn't give any bad decisions against your team, and therefore you then start thinking, well, they got an agenda against us. They don't like us. That we don't want him again. You know, Mike Dean refereed us loads of times without any incidents at all. But we only ever remember those ones where we thought, well, that was a wrong decision, and Mike Dean just doesn't like us, and he's got an agenda against us, and that's how Arsenal are with Chris Kavanagh, unfortunately. And the fact he's from Manchester, and we know that they think there's a thing there.
That's the other thing, though. We have a look at where they live now and who they support and everything. We're going into like all the personal details of these refs.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, I like that. I like the referee.
What size shoes are there?
But, yeah, I wouldn't go that far. Like week 2 threw up some fantastic results for some teams. Brighton beating Man United 2-1. I had that to happen. I thought you would do Man United at your ground. Tottenham winning 4-0 against Everton. One of the big ones for me was West Ham beating Palace 2-0 away from home. Man City obviously winning at home against Ipswich, scoring. No one saw that. Their first Premier League goal, and they went ahead as well.
I did. I said 4-1. That was my prediction.
Did you?
I won money on
Arsenal. Arsenal won 2-0 away to Villa. That was a massive result. We drew 1-1 with Bournemouth. It wasn't a fantastic game. Chelsea put 6 past Wolves, and they still haven't got a striker, so that won't happen again. Liverpool won at home to Brentford. But I think the biggest result was probably Arsenal beating Villa away, because I think the last couple of times Arsenal went to Villa, they struggled.
Yeah, I agree. I think that was just a real take note result. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but it's one of them. It was a good result, but if you watch the game, Arsenal could have been 2 down before they'd even got anywhere near the millionaire.
Watkins,
and I'll be honest with you, I'm not impressed with Arsenal right now. I'm really not impressed with. I think they've started the season very weird. Yes, they're getting the results, but is it me? Am I the only one who thinks Arsenal have become boring to watch? They're not creating the amount of chances like they used to do. Because you go back and watch the Brighton, the week after, but Brighton were the better team in the majority of that game on Saturday. Or whenever. So I'm not impressed with Arsenal right now. I'm really not.
No.
I'm more impressed with Liverpool than I am Arsenal.
Yeah, Liverpool have done really well. I mean, if we go to week 3, obviously the Arsenal-Brighton game finishing 1-1. So rest in peace, Arsenal's title chances today on Saturday, the 31st of August. Dropping those 2 points.
Hope they don't lose the title by 2 points.
I really hope they do. Because you can just go back.
What, you want a 5p?
Arsenal fan.
You want a 5p? We're making the league boring.
But the sending off is, we've covered it.
Getting back to like the week 2, and you're going on about Ten Hag. I was at the game at the Amex, and his tactics were really, really odd. Bruno Fernandes, whether you love him or hate him, he's like their main player, and he just took him off. Rashford was doing nothing, and then he had Garnacho on the bench, and you're like, what the hell? You know, I mean, I'm glad he had those tactics because it played right into our hands, and you know, yes, we were a bit fortunate with the goal that was offside, but his tactics were just really odd. It was like watching, I don't know, it wasn't like
even Bruno Fernandes was laughing on the bench, wasn't he? Like, why have you took me off for?
It just wasn't like a team you thought were going to be a top 4 team. It's like watching a team that just come up, you know, and was struggling to find their right team, right tactics. It was the Bruno Fernandes was just ridiculous. He was like, I just didn't get that at all. And then the fact that Garnacho sat on the bench for most of the game, and then as soon as he come on, he started making an impact and causing us like problems. And you're like, why is he not starting? It's like, and then you saw their reaction this weekend when he got taken off. But it was like bizarre keeping Rashford. I know Rashford in the past was a great player, and he's still got the potential to be a great player. But at the moment, he's not there, and he's walking around like he should be at a different club. You know that he really shouldn't be there, and you know, against us, he should have been off. He actually did nothing at all. And he kept him on the pitch, and it was just really bizarre. It's like, you know, I'm with a lot of the pundits. I can't see him lasting like past Christmas, to be honest.
Yeah, Gareth Southgate.
Possible, yeah.
I'm telling you.
But this way,
it's going to happen.
We've got the same one with Gordon away there. How he stayed on that pitch for 89 minutes. I know he scored, but his performance on that day was absolutely appalling, really appalling, and he stayed on. I mean,
still created 4 big chances and scored the goal. Though that was the thing.
We were comfortably in charge of that football game for 15 minutes, cruising. Then, we just left.
Terrible.
Well, I was over the moon with the point. That's how desperate we were.
But in the last 25 minutes, he created 4 big chances for the team. Dan Burn should have scored with his header. Joe Linton should have contacted better with because he hit his shoulder, didn't he? He should have really done better. You know, there was chances to win that football match, even though we were so poor for leading up to it.
If we're talking referees,
no, not referees.
No,
gone past referees.
Eddie Howe, he had to change basically the way the dimension we were playing. He changed to a formation during the game after 15 minutes, which just scratched my head. He went into like a 4-4, like put Gordon in as a 10 because he got no joy out wide at all.
It was a 4-4-1-1, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it just wasn't working at all. It was just a disastrous day, I thought, away from home. And to be honest, I was worried after that performance, and I thought we're going to have that away run again. We just looked heartless. We really did.
Didn't happen. So we're into week 3. Arsenal obviously drawn by some cracking results.
Whoa! Are you missing Haaland's first hat trick out? What are we doing here? Yeah. Well, where's the Haaland hat trick? We're not doing that bit.
Roma.
As he's like discounting his goals because he wants Isaac to be the leader.
Exactly.
Yeah, he's discounting Haaland now. Haaland's not included in any of these.
You see what the
man got an hat trick.
What Sky Bet need to start doing is top goal scorer for the season without Haaland, and then we might have
excluding Haaland.
Yeah, we might have a chance of winning it. Yes, Haaland gets a hat trick, Martin.
I thought his second goal.
Thank you.
Sorry, Martin. I thought his second goal was just typical Haaland. I thought it was a great ball over the top, and then he took that touch around the goalkeeper, and I thought he took it away. It's just typical Haaland. It was a great finish. Like,
I was more impressed with the Savio press on the goal there. I mean, I know it's Muric, and that's what you get with trying to play out from the back at the Etihad. But no, I thought he's sharp. I was more impressed with his third goal, the way he just spun it outside of the box and just put it in the bottom corner. Because you weren't seeing that from Haaland a lot last season, which we're getting into week 3 when he smacked his second goal, when he just, 3 goals ain't saving that one. He just looks so. Because I know last season he was playing a lot with a painkilling injection in his foot, an event, you two play football, and if you've got pain in that foot, you're scared of hitting it with any kind of ferocity. And Haaland's just, since he's been pain free, he's hitting everything from 20 yards, and they're just going in. The guy looks unstoppable. But I was impressed with Ipswich. But Ipswich had a little bit of a go, like you said. They went one up. Mistake from Rico and Edison. But 4-1 at home, you can't complain. I was impressed. But you're talking about Newcastle. I didn't think Newcastle were bad. I think they were okay. I think Bournemouth were very decent. The only reason I mentioned about the goal,
were very good, but that was it.
Yeah, that's what I meant. The only reason I mentioned it, because like I said, this is what I meant earlier about, because last week you got Charles sent off and Joe Linton got away with one at Bournemouth when he rock bottomed the goalkeeper, and so I suppose you do get this. What I mean, you get 1 week, you get it going for you the next week, but I don't think Newcastle were as bad as people are saying at Bournemouth. Again, it comes back down to, I think, a lot of your fans went down there and but again, does it come down to expectation? You thought you were going down there to stick 3 and 4 past them.
See, I didn't, because Bournemouth's a bogey team.
No, I know you didn't.
I know, but I think a lot of fans did think the same as me, though. I think Bournemouth, Eddie Howe, everyone puts the stat up before the games. Eddie Howe has never beaten Bournemouth.
I think that Bournemouth manager's really underrated. I think.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, I like him.
Yeah, really good.
Ooh,
I like him. I'll be honest with you, in the first 3 weeks, the team I'm most impressed with is Mike's lot. And that's why I had them up in the top 5, because I think they've just started the season on fire.
I was coming to that, because I think they've had one of the toughest starts to the league. Everton away, Man United at home, and then Arsenal away. And to come out with 7 points from those games is fabulous, to be fair. No one, I mean, I would have thought maybe 4 or 5, but not 7. Very good. But week 3 threw up some, and congratulations to the guy who won the Super 6. I don't know if you know about this, but there's a guy who won £1 million on the Super 6 by getting all 6 games right. Now, I mean, he must have looked at his Super 6 at 85 minutes gone, and Everton are 2-0 up. And somehow Bournemouth have ended up winning that game 3-2. I have got no idea. I mean, he must have just thought, well, my luck's got to be in when he's seen that result. Obviously, there was a few more games to come, but he got them absolutely spot on. Newcastle to win 2-1 and Liverpool to win 3-0. Absolutely smashes it. Gets £1 million. Unbelievable.
That's mental.
But there's some other great results as well in this weekend. City winning away to West Ham 3-1. It's never easy going there. Palace getting a point at Chelsea is a huge result, because that was their first point of the season, I think. Liverpool going to Old Trafford and winning 3-0 is a huge result. Us beating Spurs, but we always beat Spurs at home, to be fair. I know it wasn't the greatest performance in the world from us again, but beating Spurs 2-1 was massive for us to keep our unbeaten run and getting 7 points.
What was Dan Burn doing?
Oh, Jesus. Honestly, I've said this, and everyone keeps on shouting at me and going, well, if you hadn't touched it, the guy behind him was going to score. The guy behind him was 5 yards away from him, and the ball was going that wide.
He certainly made sure the guy behind him didn't touch it.
Well, exactly. I was like, what? If you just had a bit of composure and let the ball run across and then follow it, there's no way anyone's following that one in.
I said that on the Diaz own goal. You watched the Diaz own goal at West Ham. If the communication had been better, there was no West Ham player anywhere near anyone, so he could have just left it and let it go out. Yeah. But they didn't communicate, and he stuck his foot out.
Nick Pope was that goal.
Well, Nick Pope was at fault, because he should have done better with the initial save, where he palmed it away, because it was a soft shot. But I think we've got to give the performance of the weekend to Bournemouth, having we're at the Scouse Mackhams and scoring 3 goals inside 9 minutes to break their hearts, because they thought they were winning that game 2-0, didn't they?
It is Everton.
How can you lose a game when you're like less than 10 minutes to go and you're 2-0?
Exactly.
Because it's Everton, Mike, and they're absolute garbage.
I don't care how garbage you are, you don't lose a game like that.
No, that's.
But did you hear Dyche's comments afterwards? You're 2-0 up in the 84th minute, and Dyche comes out with, I could feel the pressure in the stadium. If you're 2-0 up in 84 minutes, what pressure's in the stadium?
It was a party atmosphere. You might have felt it when they scored the first one, but the more thought, oh God, here we go. It's the Newcastle thing again.
Yeah, Everton fans
2 in 3 minutes, didn't we?
Everton fans have gone balmy with him after that comment. Yeah. It was like, what do you mean?
I'm not surprised, to be fair. Yeah. I mean, I would go Barney at him as well. You're 2-0 up, you see the game out. I think.
Sorry, Mike. Go on. No, I think he's made about 2 or 3 comments that have not gone down well. One was about transfers. One was about the stadium emptying, and then that one on Saturday where he seems to have lost the plot a bit. I don't know if he's feeling the pressure.
How can they moan at transfers, Mike? Everton spent money. Because we were all going, how have Everton got away with all this spending?
No, what he started having a go at was like he started blaming it on the fans, going, the fans expect us just to go out and buy someone just like that, and we can't do it. Rather than saying it's the situation we're in and there's nothing we can do about it, he kind of started putting it back on the fans moaning, and all their fans are going, don't want to hear that. It's like, and I think that and then if you saw all their players getting on the train the second week, they were all getting a bit. It was, it's not a great place up there at the moment, but yeah.
Well, there's one positive. They're going to have the best stadium in the Championship.
That's what I said.
So listen, there's silver linings to this. But I'm telling you, this will be their year. Do you know who Everton remind me of? Do you remember Southampton in the 90s from Coventry?
Yes.
I'm showing my age here.
Remind me of Newcastle as well. But to be honest with you, we did the same thing. We hung on, and then we dropped.
No, not like Southampton. Southampton were literally staying up due to Laetitia and nobody else. Yeah. And it was always like the last 3 games of the season, Southampton won, stayed up by the skin of the teeth. And I just think this is Everton's year.
Oh, don't forget Francis Benali, though. He was very good as well.
Yeah. I just think Everton are going to go down. I just don't.
I do.
It shows fans don't understand PSR. Because if they're moaning about spending, they've not learned from the previous 3 years. They're not learning.
There's one thing I want to bring up, because I can't remember what the second one is now. Or 2 things I want to bring up, actually. The first one is well done to Mope. He got his move away from Everton. Did you see his video that he posted?
Yeah, I did.
Where's he gone? I didn't hear that.
He's gone somewhere.
He went to Marseille with Deserbi.
There you go.
With the bloke we don't talk about who battled.
Everton or Marseille. And now I know why he's happy.
Yeah, no, but his video was brilliant because it was a clip from a film where the guy like strips off and that, and he's like, "Yeah!" It's like the elation that he's left. It was brilliant. You know what Mope's like, though. You know what he's like. He winds people up, doesn't he? The other thing I want to point out, obviously, we talk about seeing games out. How many? Feels like it's gone out of the game a lot. No one goes to the corner flag anymore. Newcastle had a chance to do it against Spurs. Had a free kick, 2 minutes to go, threw it into the box. Should have went straight for the corner. Everton 2-0 up with 4 minutes to go of normal time, 5 minutes of injury time. Take it to the corner. No one does it anymore. Can you remember the last time you ever seen someone go to the corner? Because I can't. And it's frustrating when teams do it, but you do it because you want to win the game.
We conceded. Was it last season when Mickey had a chance to
in
the corner?
That was against Palace. It was 2-2, wasn't it? Or something like that, and they ran at the other side and scored.
Yeah. Game management.
Yeah, didn't I see that? Sorry, didn't I see that in the Forest game in the Cup, though, where someone was dilly-dallying on the byline and they got tackled?
Can't remember.
There was a couple of incidents. It was with Newcastle as well, where I think it might be the incident he's talking about, and then it nearly happened in the Cup game, I seem to remember, at Forest.
But
I think that's what it is. But if you get tackled and you score off it.
Yeah, but it looks worse when you fling a ball into the box where there's only 2 people in the box trying to win the header. The keeper catches it, throws it out, they go down the other end and score. And it's like, why did you throw it into a box when there's only 2 people trying to win the ball?
But it's game management where your manager shouldn't tell you have to do that. That should come automatically as a player that you've got to make decisions on a football pitch as a player that That's suicidal to put that ball in the box, knowing that. You're getting a late goal to get you in the head. So why on earth would you try and jeopardise that by giving the opposition a chance?
Because fans don't like slow football. This is what it comes down to. I've had this argument for 2 years with City fans. So on Saturday, we had Doku and Grealish. He took Doku and Grealish off when West Ham were putting us under a little bit of pressure at 2-1. And he brought Gundogan and Nunes on to slow the game down and get control of the ball again. Yeah. Our fan base was going mad at the time, going, this is boring, what we're doing. I want to see exciting Doku. And I'm like, he's game managing. And I think it does come from the pressure of the fans. A lot of fans now want to see exciting, sexy football. And if they start doing this passing around stuff, they get bored of it very quickly. I don't understand it. I find it baffling to where fans just want to go all out attack now.
See,
and there's no in-game management.
I have a daily argument with a bloke that I work with about Tonali. That he says to me, he always takes the safe option. I disagree with him. I says at all times he keeps the ball moving, and he also makes himself available at all times when the ball's moving. So he's never ever stood still. He's always going. But he's saying, well, if the ball's coming in, and why is he passing back? I says, because that's the only option he's got on. Because his body position's in that way. He's not going to do something out of his comfort zone that makes it hard for him to do. For me, he makes football look very easy. And he goes, well, we're not gaining anything from it. I says, yes, we are. You're keeping possession of a football and you're keeping the ball moving. So and then I say, what would you rather him do in a critical part of the pitch? Because these players now like to play in tight areas. Do you want it to play into a tight area, then lose it, and then you're going to call him what's he doing dilly-dallying on football? He's lost it in an important area. But if it's bounced into him and then we've played out and went out the other side, that's a completely. He's kept the hold of the football. And people, probably what Martin's knocked the nail on the head. They just would like to see at times this.
So it starts seeing because what you get is now we have fans who watch the game on SofaScore. And what they're sitting there, they're not watching the game, they're just watching SofaScore. So it's like XG. I've seen fans try and win debates using the XG argument.
Oh, I hate that.
And I sit there and I go, you don't understand XG. XG is a mathematical equation that's been worked out, and it's based on a normal player. They don't base it. Every player is scored the exact same way in XG. So, say, for example, give me a really bad Everton player.
It's not any good.
Well, a forward. Right, so look at Calvert-Lewin. Calvert-Lewin's XG is actually measured at the same one as Haaland's.
Which is stupid, because...
That's how daft XG is. Because all it is a mathematical thing. And that's how they're looking at us. And then I have it all the time with Grealish and Doku, this big debate of, well, Doku runs it, his man, but he loses the ball.
Yeah.
But Grealish is boring, but he keeps the ball.
Yeah. It drives me nuts when people put these clips up of Doku and that, and he beats 3 men, and then it cuts out, and it's just like, well, where's the final ball gone? And that's the most important thing.
I got called a racist because I said 95% of Doku's gameplay is good, but his final ball needs improving on, and someone called me racist, and a Jack Grealish lover. So I can't win anymore. I can't debate.
We had one of them, mate. We had one of them. Long gone.
It's a maximum.
Yeah.
Just because beat a man, can do it all, but
and he was forgiven just because he got you out your seat now and again. We were excited.
Yeah.
But his end product at times was appalling. His decision making at times was appalling. He lost the ball in important areas where he got crucified on the counter attack, and it's not good enough. Thing is with Jack Grealish, what he does is he gives you good possession, he gets you up the pitch, and he keeps a hold of the ball, which is good, and he gets you free kicks in important areas to take the pressure off your team when it's needed.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, quickly got to do this. Hit the subscribe button if you're enjoying it. We've got 2 more topics, and then we need to go because obviously people have got bedtimes and work tomorrow. Membership option, link is at the top of the chat if you want to become a member. It really helps. The reason why you want to be a member is we give away $40 on Diet Crow, do these amazing bespoke Newcastle t-shirts. They're fantastic. 20% off to all our viewers. Don't forget, we've got a live show on the 16th of January. Can't wait to do this. It's going to be very, very exciting. So keep looking out for news. Superfan Dan is going to be selling the tickets for this. So it's going to be very, very good. And of course, we have football prizes who are just incredible. They do amazing raffles. This one, I think I've seen this twice with our team. 2 signed shirts in the same frame. The stuff along the bottom, absolutely amazing. And they've got 17 instant win prizes to go with it. And full disclosure, I get £100, not money, credit to their site. I then try to win something to then be able to give it to you guys as a prize. That's what we're trying to do. I could take the money and run, but I'm not that kind of person. So please consider buying some tickets from them as well. And I know Martin is also sponsored by them. So
yeah, just by the way, if anyone from the Mancunian way is watching, don't start saying bad because you're encouraging me to do that now.
But there are loads of other prizes they do. They do every single team. They also do cash prizes and stuff like that as well. So it's worth checking them out. Right, we've got 2 more little bits of topics to talk about.
You're talking about wingers that take people on. If only you had someone like Minte.
Don't you had to.
I knew he was going down that road. I knew he was.
No, me too. I told him not to at the start of the show. It took him an hour and he got there in the end, didn't he? He had to.
Picking at that scab, I see, Mike. That's harsh.
I tried not to, but I just couldn't.
It's bleeding a bit now. That's how harsh that comment was at this time of the show.
Just wait till he scores at St James's Park.
Oh God, I think we'd all lose our shit if that happens. Right, Leicester have won their appeal. How important is this decision? What was it? It was a separate panel. They've literally found them not guilty or whatever it is. They're supposed to have gone over PSR. The Premier League is surprised and disappointed by the independent appeal board's decision to uphold an appeal lodged by Leicester City Football Club regarding the league's over the club's alleged breach of its profitability and sustainability rules. And this was 2022-23. I mean, they went through a turbulent time as a football club. They got relegated. They lost their owner in horrible circumstances. COVID hit them massively hard, especially with the sponsors, so the money wasn't coming in. I'm quite pleased they've won this, not for our sakes as a football club, because it could help us in the future, potentially, but for Leicester themselves, because they've just came back into the Premier League. And for me, it sends a bad message that you get relegated, which puts a massive strain on a football club financially, as it is. And for them to come back up and then for the Premier League just to say, right, there's an 11-point deduction or a 9-point deduction, you're basically relegating them before they've even had a chance to compete. So I am very pleased with that.
Sorry, just double tap. They won both, the Premier League and the EFL one.
It doesn't say anything about the EFL in here. It just says the Premier League one. Now, maybe the EFL one doesn't come into play unless they get relegated this season and they go back down to the EFL.
Yeah, because there was a better thing about which one they were being charged with, wasn't it? We were being charged with the Premier League one or the EFL one, which is a bit weird.
Is that similar to the Sheffield United, Martin?
Oh, I'm not sure.
I don't. This is trouble. You've got to be a bloody accountant now to understand.
Yeah. This is where Stefan comes in very handy.
United were in that boat as well. I'm positive.
I think the Premier League are in for a very big year. Let's put it that way. I think the Premier League are going to be showing up quite a lot because I know, and I don't want to give you too much of an exclusive here, but I might as well. There has been victories in the ATP case from the City side. There has been, I've been told it's more 75-25 in City's favour. So they have lost some of them, the points.
Right.
But apparently they have been victorious in others. I don't know which points. There is due an update on that. And I've also been told that City are basically will wipe the floor with the Premier League.
EFL one was dropped because of the Premier League charges, I thought. So that could be the reason why. I mean, I think Newcastle are holding out for you guys to see how your outcome happens so we can start getting proper sponsorships in if it's possible. But going back to Leicester, I mean, this is massive for Leicester, Mike. I mean, it would have been harsh for them to get a points deduction for something after they've already been relegated. The club's already under massive pressure financially, potentially, because they've had to sell the best player from the Championship to get them on PSR's side for being in the Premier League. And it just feels like they were going to get punished again, which is unfair, really, in my eyes.
No, I agree. And I mean, this is the beauty of having independent inquiry, tribunals, independent people judging it that have not got a vested interest. And I'm pleased for them. It's different from like Everton, which is acquired over a period of time.
It's like 3 years, isn't it? For them?
Yeah, absolutely. So no, I think it's great and good news, and it's good news for commons. We're talking about common sense. This is common sense, and they can draw a line on it, and hopefully in January they can move on and try and fight for survival. With some proper investment.
It's given them a boost, hasn't it? At the end of the day, Ian, what do you think of the Leicester case? Do you think it could help Newcastle in the future? I don't think it will, personally.
I don't think it will, but I totally agree with you. For the sake of football, for teams coming up, they can actually invest in the club to try and get there. But when they're there, they shouldn't be punished for actually being in the best league in the world. And it's good. It's with all this PSR thing. At least there's been a little bit of a green light at one end of a football club. Which just gives us all a little bit of hope that hopefully things are changing for the best. I mean, can you imagine what Leicester City's felt like now until this is done? I mean, they've getting all your fans and everything back in the Premier League, but they're sitting back thinking, God, what the hell's going to go on? We could be sitting here with minus 10, 11 points. And they've started all right. They haven't been the worst team in the league by a long shot. So they'll get a lift. They'll get a lift off this as well. And I don't mind Leicester as a football club, mate. It's it's certainly not one that's for me that go out the way to cause nonsense or out like that. So it's great for football. It's great for them. Well, it's good. It's pleasing.
I mean, there was even rumours of Leeds went up. They would have been in trouble with PSR as well. And it just feels like you're punishing teams before they even get a chance to start. And I don't agree with it. I really don't. I understand you've got to be careful with sustainability and things like that, but the Premier League should look at Leicester and Leeds if they came up and said, right, show us your finances. Are you in a better position than what you were 2 seasons ago when you got relegated? Because we were looking at you then. What are you like now? Are you going to break the rules in the next 2 years because of financial sustainability? If they can say no because they've sold one of their best players, which I think is harsh, then just move on, and let them have a crack at trying to stay in the best league in the world. And that's what we want. We want this league to be competitive. Right. Martin, Leicester, are you happy with the outcome?
Yeah, because I mean, that's what the last 2 cases, Forest, one on appeal.
Yeah.
They got their points reduced, and now Leicester. It's not a good outlook for the Premier League, this. Telling you the Premier League are just charging now, and they're not looking at things properly. I've always said this. I think what the Premier League are doing is just charging teams, and then we'll sort it out later on. Yeah. I think the Premier League are doing what referees we were saying earlier. They're just going by the book, charging up, and then we'll deal with it later. Now, I know Ian just said, Leicester. It's great for Leicester. I'll tell you what, City won't get it ever. City will never be exonerated when we win ours. We'll never be exonerated. City are tarnished now for life, sadly. But I just think the Premier League need to. I think Richard Masters needs to have a long hard look, because I think he's. The trouble is, I've always said I don't think it matters who's in charge of them, because it's not Richard Masters pulling the strings; it's the clubs.
True. The
clubs vote on all this, so until we get these chief execs. And I know people go, well, it is fair because it's 14. It's not, because you've still got a gang that have got 5 or 6 chief execs that are all going to vote for their way. They're not going to vote for people. This is why I've said Newcastle are never gonna. This PSR's never going because if you're United, Liverpool, Arsenal, Tottenham, you're never letting Newcastle in the door.
No.
No, of course not.
So they're never going to vote for anything that helps them.
There's only two other teams that will.
Yeah.
But this is why City, Newcastle, and I think the other one was
Chelsea.
Everton.
Chelsea.
No, it was Everton. It was Everton,
Oh,
believe
was
it or not.
Well, Everton, they're looking after themselves, aren't they?
Villa are at the moment. Villa have tried to get on, but they're trying to do it independently at the moment. But, I mean, I've said it to me in private, like it's becoming an American ownership versus a Arab ownership, which is why City, in their statement, didn't use the word Abu Dhabi. They used the word Arab ownership because they know exactly which way it's becoming. Because an Arab owner wants to win. They spend money to win. With due respect, and I'm not trying to camp everyone into the same rule here, an American owner is doing it to make money.
Yeah.
They're not doing it to win, because that's the American model, is make the money.
Which is why I was very surprised when Sheffield United were in the league that they didn't vote on our side, because they've also got Arab owners.
Yeah, well, they nearly got taken over by, was it a Nigerian billionaire? Something we're looking at.
Is this the one who had all the money in his house and he's been ringing an email?
Yeah. And he was, and that quickly got that. Because if you look at Everton went downhill when that 777 deal collapsed on them.
Yeah, it did.
And then they were in trouble again. But sadly, the Premier League needs to change, and it won't change. I don't know how they're going to do it. They need to get rid of this voting system, because the voting system is not fair. It's not impartial. People vote for themselves. They don't vote. You don't vote on an interest to help your partner out. You're helping to help yourself.
No.
And that's why Sir Jim Radcliffe's comments was it about a month ago? How that never got any more airtime in the media than what it did baffled me when he openly admitted there was a red cartel within the league, and everyone just went quiet on it. The same way United getting a £40 million exit out of COVID was allowed.
The COVID.
Yeah, and it never got mentioned. Did you ever hear any airtime about it?
No. Well, it was a little bit of airtime from Stefan, but that was about it, wasn't it?
But other than Stefan, you don't get anything. Even Stefan's mentioned this.
I think with Man United, though, they're on the stock market, aren't they? So everyone can see where the money's coming. Other clubs could have actually got money to the same extent, but because they're not on the stock market, you'll never see that cash. You'll never know what happened. I think that was the argument, wasn't it?
Isn't Radcliffe the head of the cartel?
Wow.
No, the original head was David Gill and Rick Parrott.
Yeah,
it was Rick Parrott and David Gill originally.
Yeah, so I'm saying is Radcliffe now, is he the main man?
I would have
no, because that's why he made that statement. He didn't understand it.
No.
Because he said, I've come into football and I was told there were United and Liverpool, etc., ran the show.
Because I thought with the way he came across that, I thought he was just saying it because he was the main man and I can say whatever I want.
No, he was saying it because he was stupid and didn't have a clue what he was actually admitting to.
Yeah, one way
I love it.
To be blunt.
Right, last topic. Let's talk about the situation of the Premier League. This is the bottom half of the table. I have Everton to go down, and I am buzzing seeing them on -8 points, bottom of the league right now. Ipswich, I have as the surprise to stay up, and got their first point. Leicester, obviously, as well. I thought they would go back down, but got their first point on the board. It helps. Southampton struggling, which we fought. But look where Man United are, sitting in 14th and Chelsea in 11th. Isn't it just beautiful to see? Any surprises down there? Yeah. Any
United. I am actually surprised at United.
Oh, yeah. I'm not.
Yeah, I knew they'd be bad. I didn't think they'd be 14th.
It's bad. Right, yeah. I mean, it's very early days. It's only been 3 games, but, yeah. But they have played Brighton and Liverpool, and I wouldn't have expected them to get a point out of one of them games.
Leaving a little bit of tongue in cheek, it's the earliest we've ever broke out the Mind the Gap Man United song.
I mean,
We normally save it till November.
Liverpool were warm Sunday in mind. I thought they were brilliant.
Well, we're talking about the bottom half of the table, Ian. So, any surprises at the bottom half of the table?
Man United, West Ham.
Man United, West Ham, only getting 3 points.
Yeah.
Again, they've had a tough start to the season.
Have they? Because I'm going to say something very controversial here. Did you really rate the West? I can't even say his name. Did you really rate the West Ham manager?
Not a Wolves, no.
No, but I'm just thinking about the window they've had and the teams they've played. I think they've had a difficult start to the season. They played Hughes, Brighton, and they got 3 points off the other game, which you would expect them to potentially get 3 points from.
You know what? Looking at that table,
sorry, Villa they played.
The fixtures that they had, I'm surprised, and I know we've got rivalry. Palace are down there because I expected them to beat Brentford, and they.
See, I didn't again.
I did.
They lost too many players.
I thought Brentford would struggle this year.
Losing Tony, but again, let's go to the top half of the table then. Spurs in 10th. Everyone thought Spurs were going to be, but 4 points isn't too bad, I suppose. Forest with 5 points. I think Forest and Bournemouth are the two big surprises for me in the top half of the table. And Brentford, as you mentioned. There's only two teams that managed to win all 3 games, which is very rare at this stage of the season. Normally you see about 5 or 6 teams who have managed to win 3 games, but only 2 have done it this year.
I'm not that surprised with Bournemouth, to be honest, because like I said earlier, I really rate their coach. I think he's so good. He's really underrated, and maybe sort of I can see them finishing like top half of the table, not top 6 or anything like that, but sort of that
maybe between the 8th and 10th.
Yeah, that I can see that. I really do think he's a great coach.
So thinking back to all your selections, I sort of remind you a little bit. Mike, you went City, Arsenal, Liverpool, Newcastle. Do you still?
Yeah. I mean, it's so early, and those teams are all up there, so I don't.
Well, with the windows shut, the squads, you think about what's gone on.
I mean, I did think you lot would be disappointed with your window, but I don't know. I'm like, all those teams are still up there and they're still getting points. So, and Liverpool have probably started better than I thought. There's a bit of reserve because of thinking that under Slot they would sort of have to rediscover, the form and these tactics. But they look. I agree with Martin. They look really good, and potentially they could be City's biggest rivals this year. Looking at that.
Yeah, sorry, the under-21s team won on pens in the Pizza Cup.
That's an extra point, isn't it?
It is. Yeah. Martin, you went with City, Arsenal, Liverpool, Man United. Would you want to change any of that?
Yeah, I want to swap Liverpool, Arsenal around.
Oh, we didn't put them in order. We just put who's going to finish in the top.
Yeah,
10.
no, United won't be. No, but if you remember what I said Ten Hag gonna have to be sacked early for that to happen.
That was a bold.
Because again, I don't think United have got a bad team. I think they've got a bad manager. The longer they keep Ten Hag, they've got no chance. I did say Brighton. It's whether Brighton can keep it up. I did say Brighton to be top 5, top 6.
You did, yes. 6, he said.
I'll be straight. I'm going to be straight. I think City will win the league by about 10, 15 points. I think we'll walk it. And that's not even being arrogant. Do you know how scary it is right now? If Arsenal drop points at the weekend.
I told you. Rest in peace, Arsenal's title challenge against Brighton.
This is what I'm saying. But how scary is this, Baz? I was talking to an Arsenal fan today. By the time we play Arsenal in 3 weeks, we beat them at the Etihad. We could be 8 points clear of them already.
Do you know what it is? I think the way Liverpool have started, they could be your main threat this year now.
That's what I'm thinking now. The thing with Liverpool, it depends whether Liverpool are like Arsenal. And this is my thing. If Liverpool get any injuries, they haven't got the squad to back it up.
Mm.
It's whether Liverpool can keep everybody fit. And also, I don't think Salah's comment at the weekend helped, telling everyone it was his final year. I think that was a little bit silly.
It was a bit of
But
a
we'll
weird
see
one,
how
though,
that
because he said,
plays.
this is my final year, but you never know what's going to happen. So he kind of said it was and then didn't.
Yeah, but I think Liverpool are in a very daft situation. They've got 3 key players going into the final year.
Yes.
And I do think Trent's Real Madrid bound. I think he's playing a blinder, Trent, the way he's playing it. Salah, I do think he'll end up at Saudi. And then potentially Van Dijk signs up. And that's it. I think that's why they've kept money aside. I think that's why they've not spent. I think they're expecting that next summer. But
Yeah.
and I'm not even trying to be arrogant. It's the way City are playing right now. Now, yes,
No, we can see
injuries can happen. But the thing is, we've had for 5 years, you've got 2 players in every position. And I've always said, no, we haven't. Apart from Haaland now, we have now got 2 for every position. I will now back up that statement and go, we do have 2 in every position. And that's right now we've got 3 wins. We're playing really good. And there's no Rodri, no Foden, no Kyle Walker, no John Stones, and no Savio. And no Oscar Bob. That's the point we're all making. It's not we're being arrogant. It's 6 of our main players are not in that team right now.
Foden's disappointing for me because I've got him in my fantasy team.
I have. He's due to be back after the internet. Apparently, he's got the C word, COVID. What I've heard. Which loads of players are getting in a minute. That's a pain. Spurs is my biggest shock. 10th.
But 4 points is still not too bad. If they were 10th and they only had 3 points, then I'll be a bit more.
I don't know if you've all heard this, but there's murmurings in the Spurs fan base of Poch, Ange may be under pressure.
Well, he can't keep playing that high line. I've said that loads of times, though, and he still does it. It'll be interesting to keep an eye on, to be fair. Ian, you went for City, Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea?
Yeah.
Do you still stand by that?
Have a go Ian now about Chelsea, like he did with me with United.
No, it's Mark. We
stupid,
were on.
Isn't it?
It was about 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago we were on Martin's show and he asked about as the squads were then.
That's true.
Who would you think would win the title? I picked Arsenal, right? Simply because at the time I says because he was losing Alvarez, who's going to replace Haaland when he gets injured? I still think that's a worry for Manchester City. However, the signing of Gundogan to get them extra goals from midfield is absolutely a masterstroke again from Pep. So for me, like Martin just said there, a lot of the players are out to come back in. There's a lot of goals again coming in where you can play a false 9, Foden going in. I just think City could be on it again on a different level this season. I really do. On all platforms across Europe, a lot. I think it hurt last year not getting that European Cup back. I really do. Liverpool at the weekend, I thought were really, really. I'd never watched them, and I was interested to see how they would perform with a new manager against it, because it's always a tough game against Man United. And I just thought I thought they steamrolled them. I thought they were absolutely brilliant. Arsenal will also obviously be thereabouts simply because of the quality depth of the squad. And Chelsea, just because they started off down the bottom, I just think squad depth at the end, they've got that much quality throughout the squad. They'll get there in the end to get them up there. I really do. Just because the start of the season is there. I mean, it goes to show let's smash. What was it? What was it again? Was it 6? The last game was it 6? The last game, wasn't it?
Wolves 6-2.
6-2. There's
but then they come up against Palace and they draw 1-1. That's just football, isn't it? You don't save the goals for the next game.
No, I just think depth and I do think eventually Chelsea will click and be an absolute
They've,
top side.
they've definitely got depth, Ian. They've
Oh,
100% got depth.
A million percent.
But they haven't got a striker.
I just
No.
think they will get to a level where they'll be up there and competing.
But they haven't got a striker. If they signed Tony, I would be very worried about Chelsea. But because they haven't signed that out-and-out striker, I'm not as worried as I would have been.
I know, but
You're still going to be thereabouts. I get that, but I just think without having that natural goal finisher, like against Palace, I think they're going to struggle sometimes.
Is anyone surprised? Why no Osman then?
It's for me with Chelsea, they've got goals from all over. It doesn't have to be from a focal point as much as sometimes Manchester City, because of that dominant on Haaland's score, and as he's proved already, getting 7 goals this season and 2 hat-tricks, right?
Mm-hmm.
Chelsea have got players. Look at Cole Palmer. You don't have to be a centre forward to score them goals, because his ability scores goals at a good level. But it's not just what that is, assists at his level as well, right? Create stuff for other people. Now, if you've got a player of his quality in that side, you're always going to have that chance to score. As well, if you've got quality around you, of course, that can put the ball in the back of the net. That's why
I'll throw this in the mix with what you're saying.
Do you not think Cole Palmer looks lost though at the moment?
I still think he's me personally. Marty's still got 4 assists already. He's only played 3 games.
No, he has. I just think signing Sancho and Nettles pushing him out.
This is my point.
Last season, Martin, right? Cole Palmer had 11 assists all season. He's got 4 now. He's only played 3 games.
Yeah, but didn't he get 3 of them in one game or something?
But
what happens though if Cole Palmer gets injured in that situation? He's so pivotal to the way they play. He's so important to that system that if he gets injured, I can see them having a bit of I know what you're saying, and they have got quality. Of course they have, but if you see the end of last season, the difference he actually made to that team, single-handedly, virtually taking them.
He won them games, didn't he?
They were. Yeah, absolutely. So my worry for them would be, if he gets injured, how do they deal with that? How do they cope with that?
It's
as stupid as that sounds.
Yeah. It's the same, Mike. Where I go back if Haaland gets injured, you've got to have that availability from right the way out throughout the squad. Where it proved last year when Haaland was missing. Alvarez stepped up to the plate and scored important goals.
You're right, totally. But I would say the difference between the coaching there is that Pep can play with a false 9. He can play without a striker. He can adapt his system to do that. And I know the Chelsea manager was under Pep, and he might be able to do the same thing. But I just think he's so pivotal to the way they play that they might struggle without him. That's all.
Yeah.
And my point of what you mentioned about not having a striker and having all these fantastic players who can chip in with goals. Look at England. When Harry Kane dropped in deep to play as a midfielder, everyone got in everyone's way. And I see that with Chelsea happening, that everyone's going to be trying to do the same job that everyone. So you'll have Cole Palmer dropping into space, then you'll have Mudryk dropping into the same sort of area. Everyone's more of a creative player than they are a finisher. And I think that's
got Sancho to get in yet, Baz. Got Jadon Sancho to get in there somehow.
Why did he go there? I don't get it. They've signed too many wingers for me, and they haven't got a focal point. If Tony went there, he would have scored 25 easily this season if he'd gone there.
The window's baffled, mate. You've got Osman, who was on the market, and with all due respect, he's going to rock up to Galatasaray.
On loan, for the rest of the season.
Can someone tell me how Arsenal and Chelsea have decided against the striker in Osman, and he's rocked up to Galatasaray?
I think Napoli have played a blinder in a way. No, I think they played a blinder because they wouldn't loan him to Chelsea or Arsenal. They wanted to sell him to them, but because our window's shut, they've been left with a player who they've dumped into the under-21s or said train alone because you're not in our plans. So they've forced him to go to a team to play football, to keep his fitness up, to keep his sharpness up. in Turkey. So they're kind of having the last laugh on the player because they've not been able to cash in on him. And they've forced him to go somewhere where he probably doesn't want to go. So I think it's quite funny, really, to be fair. But Chelsea had to stump up the money for Osimhen, and so did Arsenal. They didn't want to. Has he got 2 years left as well? He's not free at the end of this. He goes back to Napoli for another year.
Yeah.
So you'll see the same thing. You'll see them trying to negotiate a fee, and then they'll wait till the window closes on the big teams and say, right, you can fuck off back to Turkey again for being a dick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So something when Al Hilal chose Tony over him.
Yes.
Yeah.
So there must be something there that people are a bit concerned on.
You see what Tony's getting paid? £400,000 a week, up to 500,000 in bonuses.
No wonder he's ended his England career and gone to Saudi. He's like, I'm all right with that. 400 grand a week. Screw England.
Can you imagine how much you can lose on betting now?
He's the only striker I know who gets into the England squad and then kicks himself out of it.
Yeah. Like I say, Tony to Chelsea would have made Chelsea a formidable team this year if they all clicked.
But Tony to Arsenal would have done. Tony to Arsenal would have done.
True.
I am baffled by it. I think Arsenal have. That's my issue with Arsenal. I'm not saying Smith Rowe and Nketiah and all them were ever going to play, but you've sold all them off and then not brought anybody in. To back up.
And last season when Jesus was injured, and Nketiah done all right to start the season, and he's doing all right, and then all of a sudden they're just not bothered about him.
And with all due respect, they need a guy. The whole point of a striker for Arsenal was to finish off the chances in the tight games, and they go and bring in Raheem Sterling, who that was the exact reason why Pep sold him, because he didn't finish chances in big games. So listen, that's their problem.
Yeah, we'll quickly go back to the bottom of the table and we'll end it on this note. Anyone want to change their predictions of who's going to go down? So, Mike, you had Ipswich, Southampton, Leicester. So all three that came up.
Yeah, I want to put Everton in there.
Obviously, you can't, but this is the discussion.
I'll tell you what, I would take Leicester out because they got one of our players playing from Buonanotte who's doing really well there. And that's what I would do if I could, is take Leicester out and put Everton down there.
I think everyone went Leicester because we were expecting a points deduction.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it didn't happen.
Yeah, exactly.
Martin, you went Southampton, Leicester, Everton. I think you went the same as me. Yeah, you did. Yeah, we both went the same.
Yeah, I'm not changing it.
Yeah, I wouldn't. Well, you're not changing it anyway. We're discussing, would you change it?
All right, dictator. Calm down, Richard Masters.
No. Once you've made your predictions, you're stuck with them. Yeah.
No, because on my show,
but that's your show. You're on my show.
Oh, is it like that? I told you, Richard Masters.
You went with Ipswich, Southampton, Everton.
Yeah.
You happy with your picks?
I was going to put Leicester in there until I seen the news today, and then I changed it. Because obviously I thought of the...
Not allowed to change it.
No. But I don't know. The ones I submitted was after. So mine was legit. I didn't cheat, as I say.
No, VAR on that. I want VAR on that one.
No, I didn't cheat.
I love it. Right, that's the end of the show. Thank you, everyone, for joining in and keeping us going in the comments. I hope you've all enjoyed our predictions and stuff. Sorry for going on for as long as we did. But there's lots to discuss when we only do this once a month now. So thank you to everyone. Martin, get yourself off because you've got to go to another show and enjoy that. Thanks for coming on tonight for so long.
Cheers all, and speak to you soon.
Cheers,
See
Martin.
you later. Cheers, Ian. And Mike, I know your son was playing football. I hope he got on well. Did he get out with taxi and duties?
No, I had to go and get him, but it was all right. He finished early, so it's training. His first game's this Sunday, so.
Oh, good luck to him. Good luck doing your second job tonight in the kebab shop in your t-shirt.
Sunday League, mate.
Sunday League, I love it. It is. It's just a weird colour. Reminds me of our horrible one that we had with they called it the deck chair top. I don't know if you can remember that one. It was horrendous. Similar colours to that almost, but ours was worse. I can promise you that.
Damien Duff days, that wasn't it?
Yeah, Damien Duff days. Yeah, it was like a yellow one, yellow.
Alan Smith as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, Smith. Yeah.
I just want to get Veltman put on the back, so when Arsenal come to the Amex, I'm walking around with it with Veltman on the back.
Yeah. Oh man! Or just put Arsenal Tears as the name.
Yeah.
I love it. I warned you.
I know you did. You did.
I love it. Well, thanks to everyone. Obviously, it's an international break, so there's probably not much from us for a week. I might do a little video, but until next time, enjoy the rest of your night, guys, and take care.